Welcome to Whiskey and Whitetails, the show for those that hunt with a passion and drink with a purpose. I'm Gus. Matt's chugging bottles.
I'm Matt. I'm the Matt man.
There you go. He's the Matt man. As always, thank you to our Patreon for their support and encouragement. Thank you to the Waypoint Network for having us, and thank you to you, our listeners, for supporting and sharing and just generally being awesome folks. We have a good one for you this week. We just kind of caught up on some things, chit-chatted about some current events, didn't get too serious. We have a lot of great content coming up that we're going to be recording and posting over the next several weeks, all very, very focused on whiskey, very, very focused on the outdoors. So we just took an opportunity to kind of BS and catch up on some things. So we hope you enjoy that. Matt, let's talk about some folks that help us make this podcast happen.
Yeah. So as you know, Mint Mobile. So you can go to mintmobile.com/whiskey. And if you can't find it, you have to actually type in https://www.mintmobile.com/whiskey. But just friendly reminder that all their plans are just $15 a month, offered through January 31st. That's not true. Offered through February 31st. So please be sure to promote. That was a note to me, but don't worry. They're committed to helping your audience very free. Jesus, all this for me. Wow. I should have read this before. But anyway, right now, new customers with every purchase of a 3-month plan from Mint Mobile receive a second plan for free when you port in from Verizon or AT&T. And you can choose from their 3-month plans, 5, 15, and 20 gigabytes, or unlimited. I personally do the unlimited plan. Same. And you will receive a second identical plan for free at charge. Free of charge at checkout. So big wireless can run, but they can't hide when you compare these savings. So please note that both numbers must be transferred from Verizon AT in order for them to use your plan. So it's that simple. You take your Verizon or AT&T plan, you port it over to Mint Mobile. They will send you a SIM card in the mail. You make sure your device is paid off. Otherwise, you can't port it. And then, and trust me, you want to make sure it's paid off before you try to port it. And then once you do that, it's $15 a month, man. And if you buy 3 months, your wife, your son, whoever's getting the other line, free for 3 months. And I just actually re-upped my Mint Mobile plan for the next year, and I got it at $15 a month. So I basically paid up front what my normal wireless bill would have been from AT&T. I had an AT&T bill for 1 month, and it actually covered my entire 12 months of existence. And I have no problems with Mint Mobile. It's anywhere that you have minuscule service with AT&T, you're going to have minuscule service with Mint Mobile. It's it's not even like a paid thing. Like I switched to Mint Mobile before they were even a podcast sponsor. It's like, it's not even, it's a good deal. It's $15 a month. You cannot beat it. It's such a good deal. And Ryan Reynolds himself will come to your house and plug your SIM card in.
Disclaimer, that's not true and stuff for legal reasons, allegedly.
Right. And Gus, who do you got this week?
So I've got the Jasper. The Jasper Charleston has been a part of Whiskey and Whitetails.
It's almost like a home away from home.
Almost as long as we have. Like they were the very first place we did a class. We've done several courses, classes and dinners there. We go to their markets on the holiday. It's a great little spot right nestled downtown. It's a beautiful view with the amenities, and the condos that they have there are just absolutely beautiful. But I will read a bit from folks who get paid to write much nicer things, much better than I can say them. The Jasper offers an entirely new way to live in our 350-year-old treasure of a city. The Jasper's inviolable address offers views from all directions, wide vistas of steepled skyline, rivers, harbor, and close-ups of its long history alongside its trend-setting culture and cuisines, with residents offering 21st century comforts in the heart of the historic district atop the most desirable new retail and executive-level office spaces. The Jasper just may be the most anticipated triumph in Charleston for centuries. It is, when we say downtown, it's without being like on Meeting Street, it is as downtown as you get.
It is the best vantage point from downtown. Like when we went up there the first time and they took us out on the balcony and you can see the connector to James Island. I have never, ever, ever seen that vantage point before. And to look at it from there, it's almost surreal. It reminded me of Afghanistan, like looking at these mountaintops and you're like, this can't be real.
It's a really cool view. And I think maybe the only other place in that area that you might be able to get a similar view is going to be from one of the sides of the hospital, just because it's the next tallest,
Yeah.
biggest thing. But even then, you're missing a huge part of the harbor right there, that only the Jasper gets.
You're also
And
missing the fact that you can't live in the hospital. That's where you go to
there's
die.
that too, I guess. Well, the Jasper is the opposite of that. It's where you go to thrive.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of cool stuff, and you and I have both watched over the past several years all of the businesses underneath kind of grow and develop. Dude, they have a great bar down there, a coffee shop. They have a restaurant, a gym, a spa, all retail space. Like it's literally one of those places where if you chose to get your groceries delivered and maybe put in an order, for odds and ends at Target once a month to be delivered to your condo there, you could go downstairs to get what you need otherwise and never have to leave that place ever. Not that you wouldn't, because it's Charleston, but you didn't have to.
Yeah. I had lunch or dinner tonight with a lady that runs a company that we're getting ready to start working with. And she lives right behind it. And she was like,
okay,
you work with the Jasper? And I was like, yeah, we do a lot of stuff with them. And I was like, let me know who you want to talk to. And I was like, dude, Chamberlain, I'll hook you up with Chamberlain. And she was like, sounds amazing. She's like, I want to move in there like ASAP.
Hell yeah.
It's like, you cannot beat the views of that place. And the people that work there are just unparalleled.
Yep. Yeah. So check them out if you're in town. We're going to be, they were gracious enough to lend us for a day, kind of a demo, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's their model suite
for us to utilize to record some podcasts with guests for SEWE for our SEWE Spotlight series.
Yeah.
And so
you'll see some content from that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So very thankful for them. If you have an opportunity, if we've reached out to you to record a podcast, well, you're going to get an opportunity to check the place out. So
I also wanted to say, since Discord's popping right now, it said, I questioned and said, what do y'all want to win in a giveaway? So in our Discord, we do not all the time, but we do giveaways in there. So I said, what do y'all want to do to win in a giveaway? Let's keep it under $500. And one of the replies from Kyle, Monster Whitetails, he said, this photo, and it's the photo of Brennan, and it's the Step Brothers photo.
Yeah.
When they were in the vest. He was like, this photo, but with me and Big Drew Eubank. He said, big enough to cover a wall.
Oh my God. I bet you could get that printed somewhere.
100%. I got to meet up with him to do it. And then Colton said, I love giveaways. And then Whiskey Charlton sent a 20-piece tiny middle finger puppet miniature hands selection. So it's 20 pieces of middle fingers that you get, middle finger puppets. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's funny.
That's not what we're going to give away, but that is a great ask. It's like $500 worth of these, he said.
Yeah.
That would actually be a really fun giveaway.
That would be a fun giveaway.
It'd be such a waste of money, but
this is a glimpse into the kind of fun we have with our Patreon group and what you're missing out on. We also have and give those guys a lot of opportunities at content well before most people see it.
They also get all the behind the scenes stuff, and then we're not as good as showing them a ton of stuff, but like anything they want to know, like any questions, any whiskey stuff, we get asked advice all the time. And we also we haven't done them in a while because they're all pretty much done, but we have, if you're ever interested in the bourbon steward class, we pretty much have the entire class up there taught by one of us. We also have whitetail hunting stuff that's up there. There's plenty of content that's just Patreon only. So it's it's cheap.
Check it out.
You $5 a month, you'll get way more entertainment out of it than
for sure.
Yeah. And there's chances to upgrade once you get in the Patreon to other tiers. We trust you. We like you. We don't think you're a narc.
If you pass the test.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right.
So enjoy this episode. Thank you guys for dialing in, tuning in. Sorry again about last week is what it is, but it was a good episode with Aaron. So you didn't really miss out much.
Indeed.
Cheers. Hello. Ooh, hello.
Yep. Ooh, what do you have there?
I have an old Rip Van Winkle bottle that I refilled with JTS Brown 100 proof. And funny. there's a reel coming soon for a PAP in ORVW, and I will not be using this bottle. I will actually be using ORVW in the reel.
Yeah.
This bottle was just because I had an empty bottle, and
Yeah,
I thought it'd be fun for the podcast.
that is funny. It's yeah, I saw those pictures, so I'm excited to see what you guys did.
So I'm not 100% certain on the legality of this, so I'm not going to say the restaurant. But
That's fine.
we had supper club, and we went to a certain restaurant that I go to pretty often, and they had William LaRue Weller, which if you follow our Instagram story, I had the barmaid open that bottle for me because it's $40 a pour, and that's an ounce and a half, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that if you try to buy the bottle right now, it's like $2,000. So an ounce and a half, $40 a pour. So I had one $40 pour of that, and I guess 2 or 3 people have had a pour since then. So we got there, and one of the guys that works for the medicinal whiskey charity, he was with me, and we all 3 of us or all 4 of us got a pour of it. And so there was like half a bottle left, and he was like, "How many ounces is that?" And so we guessed, and so he was like, "So this number times $40, this number divided by 1.5 times 4, whatever the math was." He was like, "I would like to buy the rest of the bottle." And she was like, "Okay." And so he bought the rest of the bottle and left the bar with the bottle. So I was like, I've heard of people doing this, but I didn't know that you could just do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I see you have old Rip Van Winkle up there. And so full thing, like we pay, sometimes we get a discount or a good price on stuff, but like when we buy, for instance, ORVW, the last one I bought that and a Colonel Taylor single barrel from a podunk liquor store in the middle of Kentucky, and I paid $800 for the pair. So I think you could probably at the most call the Colonel Taylor $200, so $600 is what I paid for the And I was okay with that. I mean, I agree. Don't buy secondary. You're just inflating the market. But here's the thing: everyone's doing it. So if I do it, no one's doing it. And I bought it from a liquor store in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. So with that in mind,
somebody in a parking lot,
right? So with that in mind, if you go on the secondary sites, they're 800-ish, right? So I asked her, I was like, "So here's how many ounces are in a full bottle, 1.5 per pour, and it was $30 for a 1.5 ounce pour. So it ended up being, at the end of the day, $427.
Dude,
so I said, if you give me that full bottle of ORVW, and they had another one that was a quarter full. I was like, I will tip you on the quarter full one, pour everybody a quarter full, and I'll tip you on that, but throw it in on the other one. I'm not going to tip you on a $400 bottle that you didn't pour me. And she was like, done. So I got a full bottle plus a quarter for $470. Then I tipped her out in cash. I don't remember what I gave her, good tip. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I didn't know you could actually, I don't know that works everywhere, but
I thought that there were like, I thought like ALE had laws against, how those bottles where they could go. They had to be accounted for. And all
I'd imagine they do. I've heard of people going to like private clubs and they have like old dusty stuff in the back, and they're like, well, I'll bring my own bottle, like, and just pour me shot by shot and I'll pay for it. And they put it in a bottle and they're like, I'll just turn my head. But to actually walk out with an unopened bottle of Pappy for 400.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
No.
If anything, they secured my business for life.
That's a good business move, I guess, then.
Yeah, not bad. How's your week been?
It's been busy, very busy.
Same.
We had this last weekend. We had took the kids to a Stingrays game on Sunday, but then Saturday we had Pinewood Derby, and so starting Friday night, the Pinewood Derby started in terms of like getting set up and everything. So my weekend from Friday night all the way through Sunday evening was just slam full, and then right into a busy ass week. So it just feels like it's been nonstop for 2 weeks straight.
My weekend was awesome. Like, shout out to old school friends. I've got Chris, which know, and he came into town, and then Q. It's always fun. So just to give the scenario, Chris is like I'd say like he's a cyclist, but he's like the biggest cyclist you've ever met. He's like probably 250 pounds. No, not really any fat. Like he has like most of us have a little bit of fat on us, but he's like 6 foot, 250 pounds, black dude. Just like,
He's a thick dude.
He looks thick. And then
Yeah.
one of my good friends from back in the day, Q, also black guy, and he's like 100 and maybe like 190 pounds, 200 pounds maybe. He's active duty Army. He's a chief warrant officer in the Army.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. And he's a gym rat. So he's swole as fuck. And so every time they come into town, like one time we did it, we went to Lost Dog or not, whatever, one of the breakfast places on Folly. And so they had bought earpieces and they wore earpieces. So you have these two like muscular black dudes and then me and Andy, and they like stopped traffic and they were like, "This way, Mr. Green." And like we go inside this restaurant and like the waiter went to seat us and they're like scoping out the area with their hands like near their hip, you know, like playing the part like they were my bodyguards. But it was so fucking funny because we sit down to eat and everybody in the restaurant's like, "Who is that? Like who are these two people that have these big ass bodyguards?" But anyway, they came in town to help me do work on some cars.
Cool.
And, so we had a great weekend. It's always good seeing those guys.
Yeah. Especially beating on cars. It's kind of a lot of you guys met, right?
That's how we all met. We all met through the car scene. Yeah. Back in the day. Cool, Volkswagens. I've actually got most of my, I guess outside of you, all of my like old school friends are all Volkswagen people.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's a weird community, man. It's small. Yeah. And it's funny too, to see like back in the day, guys that were just like me, just like nobody car guys. And some of them have gone on to be pretty famous, like 1 million followers, like drift guys. Like I've got a friend that's a drift guy that's got, 1 million followers, which is crazy for a car account to have 1 million followers. It's,
that's cool, man.
Pretty nuts. So I wanted to let me get into the weeds here. So before I start, I wanted to play one verse of a song, and the only reason why is so that like you can be like, you can kind of see what I'm saying.
Sure.
So like here's the one verse of the song.
'Cause I'm only one drink away from the devil. I'm only one call away from home. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong.
So I say that as like a preference. So I'm going to read it. It says, "Because I'm only one drink away from the devil. I'm only one call away from home. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong." So I think that resonates with most Americans. We're somewhere in the middle. We're just a little between right and wrong, depending on your political leanings, which, as you know, we don't really lean any way politically. But I did want to talk about what is the word illegal. So Merriam-Webster says it is not according to authorized by law, which means it's against the law. But under that, because they're woke, it says sometimes disparaging and offensive a person who enters or lives in a country without the documentation required for legal entrance or residence. So even Merriam-Webster is aware that this situation, and they state that sometimes disparaging and offensive. So disparaging is like meant to belittle or lower the value of importance of someone or something. And I'm not saying that I agree with anything that's going on, but I think it's weird times, man, with the thing in Texas. I think it's pretty crazy.
It is pretty wild, man.
So U.S. code, go ahead.
No, go please continue, because what you're going to talk about is important first.
I was going to say U.S. Code 1325, improper entry by an alien. So improper time or place, avoidance of examination or inspection, misrepresentation, and concealment of facts. And that's any alien who enters or attempts to enter the United States at any time or place other than as designated by immigrant officers, or excludes examination of inspection by immigrant officers, or attempts to enter or obtain entry to the United States by a willfully false or misleading representation or the willful concealment of a material fact, shall, for the first commission of any such offense, be fined under Title 18 for imprisonment not more than 6 months, or both, and for a subsequent commission of any offense be fined under Title 18, imprisonment not more than 2 years. So the fine is $50, but not more than $250 for each entry. So if you illegally enter this country, which is a law, which would make an illegal alien, it's not an immigration thing. It is illegal entry into this country. Those are two different things. If you immigrate in this country I mean, that's
There's
what
a
this
process
country
for
is
that.
founded on. There is a process. But if you illegally enter this United States of America, that is illegal. And the fine is not that much. So if you do it twice, that's $100, but not more than $500. But the thing about it is, U.S. Border Patrol had more than 6.3 million encounters with illegal immigration since 2021, and 58% of that was on the Texas border. And they estimate 1.6 to 1.8 million illegal immigrants cross the border without being caught by Border Patrol.
Jesus, dude, that's a fuck ton of people.
We're getting close to 10 million illegal crossings. 10 million people trying to come into this country illegally, and they caught, I guess, 80%. And then you just get sent back. But anyway, the Texas thing, Operation Lone Star is what it's called. Everybody thinks it's a new term, but that actually started in October of 2023, where they put out 70,000 rolls of concertina wire near Eagle Pass. And then the Border Patrol was upset because it inhibits their ability to move along the border easily, especially near the riverbank of the Rio Grande. And due to drownings, they didn't like it. They wanted to fight it. So the Border Patrol cut some of it to assist migrants that are in danger. Which I get, you know, a human life is a human life. You know, we shouldn't be drowning people at the border. We should just, I don't know the answer. Nobody knows the answer. So on October 24th, Texas sued the Border Patrol for cutting those wires.
Right. Correct.
And the court granted a temporary injunction pending on trial to stop them from cutting the wire. And then Texas appealed it for the U.S. court, and they kept the ruling in place except for cases of medical emergency. So from October 24th until January 2nd, the federal government was backing Texas. And then on January 2nd, an application to vacate the injunction was put in pending appeal. So until this point, everyone was playing nice.
Yeah.
And then on January 10th, the state of Texas seized Shelby Park, which is a state park. They're allowed to do it. And they put the National Guard up, and they built a fence around the park. And it's pretty much been back and forth since then on the legalities. But Texas has maintained the border control and refused federal government to intervene.
Right.
So the Supreme Court allowed Border Patrol to access that border, and Governor Abbott made the following statement. I'm going to read it. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and the other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution foresaw the state should not be left to the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartel smuggling of illegal immigrants across the border. This is why the framers included both Article 4, which promises that the federal government shall protect each state against invasion. And Article 110, Clause 3 acknowledges that the state's sovereign interest is protected on their borders. And this was precedented in Arizona versus the United States in 2012. So this has already been a thing.
Yep. It's been a thing.
Failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4 has triggered Article 110, Clause 3, which reserves to this state's right for self-defense. For these reasons, I have declared an invasion under Article 110, Clause 3 to invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority as well as state law to secure the border. So all of this is being ran off a simple statement. The current standing statement is the following. Texas is being invaded by illegal immigrants, deadly drugs like fentanyl, and terrorists. And if you haven't seen the reels of the terrorists coming into this country, you should go look at them.
Yeah. And when you were talking about numbers earlier, started thinking about the number of countries in this world that have large populations of people who would wish ill on Americans.
All of them.
Many driven by a hatred so pure and so deep that most Americans, I don't think, could ever understand it. It comes from a very primal biblical depth that I don't think many Americans could ever understand.
Well, as an Afghan vet, I will say that we would never have won that war because you're not fighting an armed army where red and blue stands in front of each other and shoots at each other. You're fighting an idea. And the idea cannot be defeated. Like, we're all born with some idea of what life or America or whatever should be. Yeah. And no one, like, for instance, the carnivore thing, like arguing with people over cholesterol, I can't change your mind. You have to research it yourself and figure it out on your own. But the vast majority of people that are not in this country, that are another religion. That's actually, it's interesting when you look up religions. Like if you were to buy a car, right, and you're like, you don't know anything about cars, like what car should I buy? And you Google like, what is the number one bought car? So the number, like say it's a Ford Taurus is the number one bought car. So you'd be like, well, okay, if that's the number one bought car, then it's probably a good car. I should go get one. Cause I don't know anything. I'm stupid. I just did a quick Google search. If you Google the number one religion, you'll see Christianity, but when you actually break it down, Christianity has a lot of sects. So there's Catholicism, Mormons, there's a ton of stuff that leads into it. So yes, Christianity is the overwhelming number one religion, but no Catholic, if you're well into Catholicism, you know that the Christian Bible, the Christians believe that you can go straight to God. Catholicism doesn't believe that. When you die in Catholicism, they pray that they hope, and they do your last rites to hope that you get to heaven. Where in Christianity, you just straight go to heaven. So to say that Catholics and Southern Baptists are the same people, it's basically a different religion. You just worship the same God. Right. But if you were to actually take all that away, Christianity goes really, really low. I think it was 18. Right. It's 18th on the list. But the number one religion is Islam. And in Islam, they like Boko Haram means down with the West. Like they do not believe that the West is good, and their entire goal from the time that they're born to the time they die is to spread Islam. They're missionaries in their own way. And we've caught several at the border. You can find these videos of them saying, like that one guy who's like, you don't know who I am, but you will soon. And then they find out that he was a guy that was released from, he was part of ISIL or something. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that to that point, right. The large number of people you mentioned have come over, and then you start seeing the pictures and the realization that a large majority of them, there's no women, there's not really kids. Right. It's all fighting age males. And it's like,
sorry,
it's just, you look at that number and then you think about some of the worst terrorist attacks that have ever happened. And those only take between 1 and 5 people to make a lot of people's lives really miserable. So what happens when just a fraction of these millions decide to get stupid or chase, radical thought? It's just, man, it's unsettling.
But the other thing too is you have to look at this at face value, which is what we're doing here, because we're not political, we're not taking any sides, we're just giving the facts. But when you look at CNN, or we'll start with like a Republican leaning website. When you look at Fox News or any of those websites, they're going to show you pictures of military aged men, no women and children coming into the country. Yeah. And that's what riles everybody up. It gets them go, there's no women or children. Like that's the repeated narrative. But if you go to like CNN or a liberal based news, they'll show true stories of women and children drowning in the Rio Grande, trying to get across, and they can't because of the concertina wire, and they get stuck in the water and end up drowning. So there are women and children there, but the vast majority is 100% men, and they're not sure. There are some coming here for an opportunity. Yes. But if you were to just sit there and say all of them are coming here for an opportunity to make it, that's just as dumb as saying all of them are refugees trying to flee something. I mean, we really don't know is the point. When we're talking about millions of people, what did I say? 1.7 or
1.8.
Yeah. We're talking about millions of people. So when you talk about, U.S. border 6.3 million encounters with illegal immigration since 2021, 6.3 million. There's no way that's 6.3 million men, but there's also no way that's 6.3 million families. It's just, it's just not. It's a mix of all of it, and depending on what news source you look at, they're going to show you their prerogative.
Sure.
The other thing too is what's crazy is Mexicans. South America in general is extremely right-leaning. So it's kind of odd that the left-leaning Americans are supportive of right-leaning people immigrating. But I think it's like they're banking on maybe the language barrier. That like once they get here, they're not going to, like, we just tell them like, we'll let you in, but you got to vote left. I mean, I don't know if that's actually happening, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I got some ideas, but that's,
but ideas are, we're not here for ideas.
Yeah, that's fine.
But to finish this up, Abbott is claiming that Article 110, Clause 3 of the Constitution, no state shall, without consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter any agreement or compact with another state, or with a foreign power engage in war unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. So that gives Texas the power to declare that illegal immigrants are invading, and Texas can now wage war against them. But the media is going to tell you that people are coming here to work, and they'll cite the cases of women and children drowning in the Rio Grande. But the whole thing is a travesty. All of it from beginning to end is a travesty, from actual innocent lives being lost all the way to terrorists entering our country. And I love the following state. Chairman Green, I don't know if he leans left or right. I don't care. He's from Tennessee, but he said the number of individuals apprehended illegally crossing the southwest border and found to be on the terrorist watch list has increased 2,500%.
What?
From fiscal years 2017 to 2020 to the fiscal year of 2021 to 2023. And those are only the ones we've caught. They've caught
increased by 2,000%.
2,500%.
Okay, so I want to try and I'm going to see what that. I'm going to give an example of what that means.
Yeah, do it.
So let's.
It's crazy to think about. Even if that number was zero, if there was 0 terrorists from 2017 to 2020, and from 2021 to now, there's 2,500 of them entering our country. That's alarming.
Yeah. So I just chose 50 as a random number, just like a nice square number. If they were identifying 50, 2,500%.
You're talking 6 million illegal immigrants. 50 is nothing.
Right.
So go ahead.
So times 2,500%, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Is 1,250.
12. Right? And how many terrorists were involved in 9/11?
10.
5, 10. Yeah, there was 10.
Something like that.
Right. So it's like.
Right. And that's a low number. Like 50 is very, very, very small number. I can almost guarantee you the number is so you take that into account, and then take into account that that's just the ones they've been able to catch.
Right. They've caught that many.
And the increased ability to communicate and share information and plan things remotely and with technology. It's just, yeah.
But here's the thing with Americans is, you remember like the COVID thing. One is too many. One death is too many. So everyone must wear masks. Everyone must get vaccinated. Everyone must 6 feet of distance, all that stuff. One is too many. But when you flip it to the other side, how many terrorists is too many?
Yeah.
Is it still one? Is one still too many terrorists? I don't know why people have a problem with this. But the other thing too is like I see a lot of people talking about federalizing the Texas troops. And here's like, I'm going to say something that you can't be fact checked. It's just my opinion. And my opinion based on, I was in the Army and I still have friends in the Army, and I have pitched this to them and asked. But here's the thing. If you're in the National Guard or you're in the actual Army, active duty Army, your basic training is the same. I went to basic training with National Guard guys. I went to basic training with the reserve guys. If the National Guard is owned by the state, it's likely that I went to basic training with one of them, right? I mean, so if I'm a federal troop, if I'm active duty stationed at some base, and the government says, you're going to go to Texas now and fight the National Guard, really think about that. You really think there's a single soldier on this planet that's going to go to Texas and shoot a fellow soldier? You're out of your fucking mind.
It's not just a state thing. Like National Guard deploys overseas. So
they do. We work with them all the time.
There's times when
no way that it's going to happen. And what's going to end up happening is the federal employees, the federal troops are going to turncoat. I promise you. It's whatever doubt you have in your mind. And like I asked one friend of mine, and he's like, well, if they shoot at me, I'm shooting at them. I got you. But if they don't shoot at you, if it's 100 versus 100 and nobody shoots, what are you going to do? Are you going to forcefully kill them and take their position? And he's like, no. If they don't shoot at me, I'm not going to defend myself. It's like, well, they're not going to shoot at you because they know that you're in the Army, just like you're in the same fucking military.
Yeah.
The difference is one of you takes directions from the president. The other one takes directions from the governor of your state. You still went to the same schools together. You went to jump school together. You went to SEWE together. You all have the same training. Like there's no way. Yeah. As much as I hated working with the National Guard, there is no way that I would fight one of them. It's just, I'm not going to. It's the same team. We're the same people. We're the same dudes. We have the same family, same friends, same everything. We were trained by the same people. It's just not going to happen. So if you were to federalize these troops in Texas, I'm sorry, but it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
It's just the whole scenario is disappointing. and it's
For sure.
sad,
For
and
sure.
I hate it, and I hate that the media is not covering it, and I think they're not covering it intentionally, and that's why you're listening to it now. We're 25 minutes on the podcast, and this is what we're talking about instead of fun shit like whiskey and whitetails. We're talking about how disgusting it is that we have this inner battle, and people are promoting and wishing for a civil war. I mean,
That's the thing that
ask anyone. I mean, I don't remember the exact phrasing of it, but like everyone knows the saying, war is hell. I mean, you have no idea what you're asking for. You really want a civil war? That's not a good place to stand on. Now, if it's us versus the government, I can see that. But a civil war, states fighting each other, dude, you do not want that. That is disgusting. You're literally going to kill your dude.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Gus, if you were National Guard and I was in the Army and we go to war together, I got to fucking kill you.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Devastating. If
I
win,
follow my orders, but for sure it would definitely suck. But
if I win, and I will win because I'm superior in combat than you. But when I win, now I got to come home and like hug your kids and be like, "I'm sorry I killed your dad." Like you guys really got to think about this. We cannot be trying to start a civil war. It's
I think that when people romanticize the idea, it is a liberal states versus democratic states. And if you look at civil wars in the past,
liberal versus Republican states,
I think when you look at history and you look at other civil wars, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but the ones that I can recall that I've studied, the purpose or the reason for it is largely like ideology based, over something, not a political line necessarily.
Yeah.
And everything will get painted into one side or the other, but I don't think it always starts that way. And so when I say that when people talk about wanting a civil war, I think what you said about the people versus the government, I think that's really what they mean.
Yeah, that's what they think.
I think everyone is tired of
happen.
Right. I think people are thinking, fuck it, all of us citizens versus the government and their military. Yeah. But that also, like, the military is not just going to take orders to go control the country they swore to defend.
Promise you, the military today is not going to defend the government. I promise you. And it's like people see like these revolutions, and like say Argentina, for instance, it's like there was a political party that ran the country and they had the military, and then another guy had prominence and they liked him, and so the military sided with that guy, and then there was a coup and they threw over the government. They got rid of the guy in charge and they placed in power this new guy. And you see that and you're like, that's some third world shit. That's weird as fuck. That's never going to happen. But if you really look at it, I mean, this is what we're looking at here, folks. We're looking at Texas, which, by the way, reserved the right to secede whenever they want. Not saying that they technically could, because the government, as I read in one of those statutes, the government doesn't allow that. But if they were to federalize Texas troops and then the federal government sent troops to Texas, they're going to send them there. It doesn't matter. What they do when they get there is another story. Right. But they're going to deploy there, and then they're probably going to take side with Abbott. And it's possible that they could just take all the federal troops and it spreads amongst the ranks like, hey, we're not going to support Biden. We're going to support Abbott. We're going to defend this country because he's an idiot. And so it's possible that coup takes over and now it's a military-run state, and then they place Abbott as president. It's the same exact thing as these things you think in a third world country. It's the same thing. It's like we're all the same person. The end of the day, what dials it down to is we as human beings in this day and age where you have access to all this technology and you can actually see and read for yourself what's going on, we are starting to realize that the government does not have your best interests in mind.
Not only that, but they really don't have the power over you that they like for you to believe that they do.
No. And ask any cop.
If they were just people sitting in a 100%. Fucking office. That's it.
That's one thing you learn about as you get older. Like we're all all of us want to go home early. All of us want to show up late. All of us want to take an hour-long shit. All of us want to do these things. And the guy that you're talking to that's a senator or whatever, he's the same person as you. He also doesn't want to be at work. He just wants to get paid to do whatever. It's like we're all on the same playing field, but what scares you is like these titles of government. And I think that it would be huge mistake to try and overthrow anything and have civil unrest, because what's going to happen is going to destabilize major cities where there would be no law. And this is an unpopular opinion, but are human beings inherently good or inherently evil? Let me pose to you a proposition. There's three of us are walking down a street and we see an old lady fall down. What are we going to do? We're going to go help her up, right?
Right.
So there's three of us walking downtown. An old lady pulls a gun on us. What are we going to do? You're going to kill her, right? You're not going to let this old lady fucking shoot you. She's 90 years old. And you're 30. You're like, you're not going to take the next 70 years from me.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a food shortage. Let's say there's no police anymore. Let's say law of unrest. Are you going to, because you're inherently good, are you going to answer the door when I come knocking, loaded up with guns? Are you going to answer the door because you're inherently good? No, you're going to defend yourself because you're inherently evil. We all are. That's just human beings in general. The only reason that we're here and the other genres of human being are not is because we were meaner than them and we killed them all. Like
self-preservation is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Everything and everyone can be kind and be generous. But when options start to dwindle, everybody will generally just revert to self-preservation.
100%. So is self-preservation inherently good or inherently evil?
I guess it depends on what side of it you're on.
I think that's the question, because I think I'm being inherently good to defend my family, but I'm willing to be inherently evil to defend my family.
Yeah, I think it's
but even if you take the family out of it, if it's just you as a human, are you going to sacrifice yourself for somebody you don't know? Or are you going to self-survive?
Yeah, I guess it just depends. I don't know. It's a weird situation, man.
It's a crazy conversation. I love having that discussion with people, because it's like, no matter what you say, if you say we're inherently evil, I'll prove to you that we're inherently good. But if you say you're inherently good, I'm going to prove to you that we're inherently evil. It's like, I think we have a little bit of both, which is why I played that Jelly Roll song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
I guess I'm just a little right and wrong. Somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Well, all that aside,
that's a beaten horse.
Yeah, it's terrible. I wish it wouldn't be a thing. And for
100%,
I will say, shout out to the National Guard down there, just following orders and doing what they're supposed to do, and being caught up and then in the spotlight of all this crap when it's not really what they signed up for.
Right. So. The whole, like I said before, the entire thing is gross. I don't like any of it. But I think it's important that people understand the legalities of what's happening.
Yeah. It's a much bigger issue than just being nice to let people come across the board. There's so many other implications, and it's
the other thing too is
not that simple.
I don't think people realize how big the government is.
Yes,
it's massive. I mean, massive. It's not just Biden and the Senate and the governor. It's not just that. There's millions of federal employees that get paid to work for the government. Millions of us. I mean, I'm one of them. You're one of them. I don't know if you still are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still work for the government or not, but I don't know, in your new job, but it's like, there's so many of us. And if you were to come to me and be like, hey, join my band of marauders and we're going to go fight the government, I'm like, you're going to fight the people that pay for my house? I don't think so, bro.
Hang on, can we go after payday?
Yeah. How do I get paid? Are you guys paying? Can you pay me what I'm making now to come be a gunfighter? Then maybe, but no, it's, and I'm saying that jokingly. Obviously, if I thought that my country was at risk of anything and they needed people to fight, that, I've got the experience, I would go. But, and I'm not saying that like a Trump rally. I'm not fucking doing that. But, did you see that comedian from Kill Tony? That chick?
No.
Part of her bit was like, she was like, I was there on January 6th and blah, blah, blah. She got like fucking 10 years in prison. She would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids. And those kids, I mean, Kill Tony. If it weren't for her going on there and talking about it, they would have never come after her. But she went on there and bragged about going there and they arrested her.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy. And that's a whole nother topic I'm not going to get into.
Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed earlier, I just killed this bottle, which was
hell
fun.
Yeah. Eagle Rare, dude, great bottle.
It's a great bottle.
Did you have a
80.
point?
No,
Oh,
just-
you're just saying you didn't notice if I killed it?
just segueing into something other
Oh, yeah.
of the current event, something whiskey or hunting related.
Well, I figured we could do carnivore real quick.
Oh yeah. Touch on that because you.
All right. So
you
today
wrapped
of this
up January.
recording is February 1st at
Mhm.
8:41 p.m. So I stopped my carnivore journey on January 30th at 7:30 p.m. I think.
Uh-huh.
And the way I stopped it was with nigiri, which is basically still meat but some rice, and I had a couple of beers.
How'd that go?
To believe it or not, I woke up the 31st, which was Wednesday, feeling just like I did every other day. So I don't think I had enough carbs or
Yeah.
whatever to actually mess
Good.
with me. Like my joints are still good, everything's good. But I'm going to tell you my journey
Yeah.
for 30 days. So for 30 days of carnivore, I was very strict. I did not cheat. I did everything correctly. I drank twice, and both of those times I drank with whiskey only, and I didn't really drink that much. I can tell you within 8 days, which we talked about before, within 8 days, I think I was pretty set in. So I had like 5 to 6 days of diarrhea, which is just, it's anytime you change your diet, you're going to have that. But for my case, it was the gut biome. There's things in your gut biome that process carbohydrates, process meat, process sugar, whatever. So as I'm not eating those things and I'm not feeding my gut biome those things were dying off. So after 8 days, my body regulated and I pooped. I know this is a little intense talking about poop. I think I pooped every other day, maybe every 2 days. I don't know, but they were small, compact. It reminded me of MREs, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Like when you're on MREs for like 3 or 4 days, you poop out this gray ball that's like the size of a pool ball, and you wipe once and you're done. And it reminded me of that. It was like very easy, no big deal.
That's fun.
And then once I got fully into it, I think I was probably eating too much fat. The poop got like a wax pen. Like I drew, like I dropped a wax pen in the toilet, and as it span around, I know that's too much, but
That's a lot.
I'm just being fully fucking honest here. But it was normal. Like everything felt good. I never got sick. I felt amazing. Waking up before my alarm has never been a thing. And it has been for the last 30 days. I would wake up 10 minutes before my alarm.
Yeah.
I'd wake up, roll over, look at what time it was. My alarm's going off in 10 minutes. I just turned my alarm off and I got straight up and got in the shower and went to work, which is not common for me. I'm usually a 3 to 4 snooze guy. Except weekends. For some reason on a weekend, when I wake up, I'm up, I'm ready to roll. So all my joint pain is gone. I had tendonitis in my elbow. They call it tennis elbow. That is gone.
Nice.
I lost 23 pounds in 30 days, which
damn, dude.
When I saw that, I was like, And so I got on like Reddit/carnivore and got on there and started reading other people's reports for their first 30 days of carnivore, 31 days of carnivore. Pretty common. Most people lost between 20 and 35 pounds.
Wow.
Which is nuts.
Impressive.
I don't even know where it went. I could see it in my face. I can tell that my sunken eyes are back. But one thing I noticed probably 15 days in, I woke up and I was like, when you wake up and you're like, oh, you like scratch your chest or whatever. There's always been like movement there, and now there's not.
Okay.
Zero movement. So my skin, it feels tighter, which I think is a loss of subcutaneous fat. So I think I lost 23 pounds of subcutaneous fat.
Interesting.
And I noticed that because of my TRT. The place that I was injecting, I can't anymore. I had to move up higher into almost to my groin, basically, the top half of my thigh. There's still some loose skin there, but my actual thighs, you cannot pull anymore. I cannot pull any skin off my thighs.
Nice.
And I have massive legs, so they look pretty crazy right now. So just to go over it, so I wrote down like some important stuff. So for those that don't know, I had liver issues, linked to Afghanistan, burn pit stuff, blah, blah, blah. I've had liver issues for a long time. We had a couple scares in the past 8 years, where like medical intervention was done. Not to get too personal, but so my total testosterone, granted, I'm on TRT. So anyway, it was at 996.
Unknown caller.
Jesus. Oh, we should answer. Let's answer. Let's answer.
Who is it?
I don't know. Hello?
Hello there, this is Michelle with the American Red Cross Blood Services. May I speak with Joseph, please?
Nope, it's the wrong number.
I will notate that. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
That's one thing about donating blood, dude. They call you fucking nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
No, it's okay.
It's
It is a
it's
rabbit
so
hole.
annoying, right? Because you
Not
do it
in
too.
mood. Yeah, all the time.
It turns out it's a scam, just like every other charity.
Exactly.
So total testosterone with 996, and so for those that don't know, I think the average is like 400 to 600. When you get over 600, you're fucking beefing. So 996, I felt good on 996. So after a month of carnivore, I did not change my dosage at all. Just a month of carnivore, my number went to 1229, which is too high. That needs to come down. That's anabolic steroid territory, which makes sense why I'm putting on muscle like it's my job. My white blood cell count. Oh, I didn't even fill that in. So hemoglobin 19.1, which is high. At 20, you cannot even donate blood. It's too high. So it's at 16.1 now. Hematocrit, same thing, 54.1. That's high. It went down to 47. Platelets, 235, went up to 273. I don't know what that means. But to get into my liver numbers, I've been over 100 on all of them for years. And since I've recently kind of like changed the way I just live, they've gone down. So before AST was 51, now it is 28, which is well into the normal range.
Wow.
ALT was 72. Now it's 44, which is a little bit high, but it's still in the normal range. So it fixed my liver issues. The only thing, the blood pressure, I was 140 over 90.
Uh-huh.
Can you say heart attack? As of this morning, 115 over 75.
Damn, dude.
I am what the Google would say perfect on blood pressure.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
So my cholesterol went up, and if you're interested in the cholesterol carnivore diet thing, if that's what's holding you back from trying it out, if you go to Peter Attila and look up it's called The Straight Dope on Cholesterol. If you look that up, it's massive. It's so much to read. But basically, to boil it down, the HDL test, what they're doing is they're testing cholesterol in your blood. So your blood is water-based. And as we all learn in science class, water and oil don't mix. So if you put water and olive oil in a thing, the oil will float to the top. So what they're doing is they're testing hydrophobic lipids in your blood panel, and it's going to show that it's high. But if you do an actual particle test, which actually tests what's going on in your arteries and your heart, mine was completely normal. Nothing wrong at all. So my cholesterol right now is 254, which is fucking high. Like 300, you're going to have a heart attack. But my actual LDLP test, particle test, is completely in normal ranges. As I said before, cholesterol is a lipid. It does not dissolve in your blood. So therefore, it's not going to enter your blood. It's just flowing through your veins. Your body gets rid of it. And also, every mitochondrial cell in your body requires cholesterol to survive, and it's very important for your testosterone, which is why my testosterone is through the fucking roof right now. So am I going to stay carnivore forever? That's the big question. I don't know, but
some form of it sounds
I
doable.
am going to continue for now. For now, I am going to stay in it. I'm going to keep eating steaks, and I'm going to keep enjoying my butter and bacon and no vegetables.
Okay.
Does that mean I'm going to go to dinner and not have a baked potato? No, that's not what that means. But I still want to have a pasta from here and now. But I will tell you what, 30 days of strict eating has killed my sweet tooth. I do not care about chocolate in any way, shape, or form. It does not bother me at all, which is very crazy.
Yeah. I need to, maybe I need to give it a shot. Sounds doable.
Every human body is different. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
So what works for me may not work for you, but for me, everything other than cholesterol, which I've already said, I don't believe modern science on cholesterol.
Mhm.
If you read if you read it, his first sentence says, if you read this entire thing front to back, which I think it's 7 parts, it's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
He says, you now know more about cholesterol than 95% of all physicians in the United States. So it's,
that's alarming.
it is. Our relationship with cholesterol is not what you think. And that's,
well, it's not with the pharmaceutical industry.
and that's the problem, is like, to go down this rabbit hole is like 6 hours of talking. So it's like, I challenge you to do your own research and see if it's right for you. I'm just telling you, for me, I feel fucking great, and I don't know that I'm going to stop. I feel so good. I mean, I've never felt, I can't remember the last time I felt like zero joint pain. My elbow does not bother me at all. I got PRP, platelet-rich plasma injections into my shoulder, into my armpit, which sucked. That did not fix. I have no issues, full range of movement.
Really?
No pain.
Yeah, that's the part that interests me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I talked a guy into work doing it, and he's got joint pain just like I do, but he has a spinal issue. It fixed everything but his spine, which means his spine's probably actually jacked up. But it fixed the same thing, fixed his shoulder.
Yeah.
He couldn't sustain it because of kids, so he quit 20 days in, I think.
Yeah.
And I talked to him today, and he was like, I got to figure out how to make it work.
It's tough with kids, but I tell you, I eat meat. I don't eat a ton of vegetables. I take the whole, like, I don't know what the word is, not carnivore, but meat-based diet approach, right? So, anything that comes from an animal with reason. And then I really try to limit sugar and breads, vegetables, and I get plenty of fruits. And then I take a desiccated beef organ supplement, which I use as well.
The same thing. Is the same one I use?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same one you use. I don't remember. I don't think we've.
I can't remember the company, or I'd shout them out because it's great stuff.
Yeah, but eating that way it's not hard, and I don't. The problem though is, for me, is having kids. They just have so many things around the house, and if I can just work on cutting that stuff out, my diet, the way I eat, would be really, I think, solid.
So I told him this. I said, your issue with kids is twofold. One, it's your willpower. One, you don't have the power mentally to keep going. And then, what was the second one? Oh, two, on carnivore, you really don't eat that much. I have subcutaneous fat. I have fat around my gut. Like, I have love handles. So it's like, I'm really, now that my body's like fat adjusted, I really don't eat that much. Like, if I get hungry, I can pretty much drink water and it'll go away.
Yeah.
But if I get really hungry, I have a steak, and then it's like, it's a couple days before I'm hungry again. Which is, to me, you talk about efficient, like not having to eat 3 times a day, or even twice, or even once a day. Like, I don't even think about it. Like, outside of, that's why I've been limiting my drinking. It's because the drinking is like, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had lunch today with a cop, and and we had Thai food, and it came with a bowl of rice. I didn't eat the rice. I just sucked the masamam curry. I just ate that, which it's sweet, so there's definitely sugar in it.
Sure.
But I didn't have a crash after. I think my body doesn't have the ability to process the sugar right now.
Sure.
I just don't think it's in there.
It's just it's a lower amount, right? And your body's going to react a lot different than just shoving, 4 cups worth of rice and starch in your mouth.
Well, I think if I did it for days, like if I were to eat carbs and sugar for like 4 days, I think that my body would. But I honestly don't think I got any nutritional value out of it. I don't think my body processed any of it. I think it's going to go straight to my stomach and then straight to my colon. I'm going to dump
your
it out.
metabolism is probably so on fire right now that little bit of sugar was just burnt up in a heartbeat anyways.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. I don't know, but I can't stand here and be like, I swear on everything I know to be true that the cholesterol science is false. I can't actually do that, because even though I'm in 30 days, I did 30 days on it, and I can see in my blood work that the shit went up. I still don't think, I'm still not even reading that stuff from Peter Attia, I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense if you think about it, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm like, do I even know what he's really actually saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes
Using a bunch
sense
of
in my
big fancy
little pea
words.
brain. Yeah, fancy words. But it's like, can I stand here and say I'm not going to have a heart attack from eating meat and
Sure.
fat and my cholesterol being high? I don't think I can say that. I don't know.
Right.
I could be completely wrong. I might die, tomorrow. But if that's the case, I'm going to feel really fucking good when I do die.
I think the one key to that kind of stuff is that I've always surmised from the things that I've read about that is, with the cholesterol flowing in the blood, it's really not the cholesterol that's the problem. It's the inflammation of the arteries from all the other processed foods and sugars and stuff. And so when you couple that inflammation in those arteries and so that's now a smaller pathway for blood to flow through, that causes the buildup of that cholesterol or plaque or whatever they call it. And that's what leads to a heart attack.
It's
But by
100%
being on this diet,
the arteries and the heart. It's not the veins.
Yeah. But whenever you eat this diet and you remove all this processed sugars and starches, that whole body inflammation just drastically reduces. And then that's what it helps account for the lack of joint pain, but it also helps your heart work more efficiently. And if you stick to this diet, you can eat that way and not be as, and I'm not a doctor here, folks. This is just stuff that
neither of us are doctors.
once.
But I did have an EKG done and they were like, yeah, you're good.
Ticker's good to go, huh?
Good to go.
Nice.
Because I had a like panic attacks, for instance. Very strange thing because they come in different forms. And so like I'm familiar with most of the forms they come in and I just go, oh, it's a panic attack, just shut it down.
Sure.
Stupid. But every once in a while I'll get one where I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack, and so I'll go in because I'd rather have a heart attack at the VA than have a heart attack at home.
Sure.
But they'll do these EKGs and they're like you just wasted your evening. Your heart's perfectly fine. So, I don't have any plaque buildup. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I do wonder what my VO2 max. I've thought about doing that, like the whatever that test is.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I've done that. I've done that once.
How strenuous is it? Like, is it like they really beat the shit out of you, or it's just what your body can handle?
So what you do is, the one that I did was I sat on a stationary bike. They put a mask on my face, right, and the stuff hooked up to you, and they're just measuring your body's ability to process oxygen.
Okay.
And so what they're doing is they're looking at like how, and I forget what the cutoff is or what the threshold they're looking for, like where you reach a certain point that you're only getting so much oxygen to your blood with your breathing and the blood flow. And the way they get to that max is by gradually making the pedaling and the bike more strenuous until you're like cranking down. And so you have to, not only do they increase it, but you have to keep the number on the bike above a certain level. So you have to not only, so you got to keep up momentum as it gets stronger, and it increases, how hard you're having to breathe and all that kind of stuff. I don't remember anything about the score or what I did. I know I did well, good enough, or I was like in my late 20s at the time. So I was in decent shape, but, they definitely don't make it as like as sexy as it looks in the fucking movies, where it's a nice lab and a nice equipment and
with some Jocko in the background, like
you are weak. No, dude, it was an old ass bike in the corner of this tiny room, this tiny exam room with some old ladies like hooking stuff up to me, and like I'm sweating and like shit's dripping. It was not cool at all.
I think I'm gonna schedule one for April.
Yeah, should. It's a good health indicator for sure.
There's no way I do this through the summer. Like the summer is for drinking too much beer and eating hamburgers. So like I'm gonna, but I wonder how bad that is for your body to like do this and then switch back to like eating like shit. That's probably
pretty bad.
That's probably the worst thing you can do.
I wouldn't be surprised though if by the time summer comes around, if you stuck to this for that long, that you just have zero desire to do it.
It's possible, man, because I'm telling you. Like I don't really care about self-image, but there's also a part of me that does care a little bit. Like I like seeing progress in the gym, and I've been working out for years. And now when I think back on like the best shape of my life in the Army, I was probably starving myself because I was eating a lot of salad.
Yeah.
chicken and eggs. And it's like I was getting protein, but I was always hungry. And I'm not ever hungry now. But I feel like I'm putting on more muscle now than I ever did.
Sure.
So I wonder what I would look like in like 3 months if I'm for my own curiosity, I'm like, let's take it to your birthday. So let's take it to April 22nd. Let's be serious for, for like 3.5 months and see. Let's just see what happens.
For sure.
I'm just curious, especially if like my LD, like the particle test, and if I schedule a thing in April, my VO2 max, like if everything's still good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I worry about those cholesterol numbers but I wonder if I'm just indoctrined.
I think that's what it is.
I just don't know.
Could be.
I just don't know.
Yeah. I think there's that Western medicine is that way with a lot of things. It's like, I can read all kinds of things about what's good or not, or why you shouldn't do one thing or another, but then, or what you should take instead of, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories or this, that, or the other. But then it's like, as soon as I get, my shoulder starts to ache and bother me, it's like, I'm reaching for that ibuprofen, right? Or that Tylenol. And it's like, there's all kinds of research that tells you how bad Tylenol is for your liver and other things. But it's just like one of the kids get a fever and it's like, the fever needs to come down. And it's like, well, shit, like do I risk letting this fever get out of control in my child, or like give them the Tylenol? Of course I give them the Tylenol, so it's just weird. Yeah. To preach one thing like that, right? And then to go and do that,
negate it when it comes to someone else.
It's a weird thing to live in.
I think at the end of the day, you just got to look at like your numbers, your body work. And for anyone that wonders, I'm going to pull it up real quick just so I'm quoting the truth. But I did LabCorp Men's Health test. Let's see. It's so I'm sure you have a LabCorp in your local town. So if you want to experiment with the stuff, so it's $199. So for $200, you can go and get this test done, and it literally tests everything. Tests your testosterone, your lipids, it even tests like the CO2 and it tests everything.
Yeah.
So if you want to experiment, I'm probably gonna do it every month. I think every month on the last day of the month, I'm just gonna go get it done. Because I'm really interested to see if anything changes. Like already in 1 month, everything that was high is now normal. Everything that was low is now normal. Everything except cholesterol is like my blood. I mean, all of it. There's no notes on anything except testosterone. The note he wrote, I don't have it pulled up. The note he wrote on my testosterone was like, it was something. It was alluding to thinking that I was on steroids.
Yeah.
Like he said something like, this number is not sustainable, so you should cycle off soon. It said cycle off on there.
They just assumed you were like,
he assumed that I was on anabolic steroids because
let's and to be completely clear, with the right guidance and protocol, you can safely do anabolic steroids. It's not legal.
100%.
You can do them safely
100%.
for quite a long time without any of the negative side effects, but you have to follow a strict protocol that works. There are people that are legends in the bodybuilding industry who can talk ad nauseum about this, and you can go find their well, some of them are very, very dead.
Yeah.
But all that to say that all of those people who do that and do it right, they get regular blood work. So it's not unusual for a doctor reading that report from LabCorp to go, oh, this guy must be on, whatever. He's just doing his blood work, and just to type in a note there, like it's no big deal.
Yeah. And like, I'm tossing around the idea of, well, one, it won't get me in trouble at work because they don't care. And like legally, I guess I could get in trouble for saying this, but I'm tossing around the idea of doing clenbuterol.
Okay.
It's basically, it's for people with breathing disorders. What it does is like, it increases your like core temperature and heartbeat a lot. But it's like a massive fat burner. It's clenbuterol hydrochloride. It's called Clen. Everybody calls it Clen. But like if you do a Clen with like an anabolic steroid, that's what most, like in the 70s and 80s, that's what most of them were doing, was Clen and like D-ball or one of those things. But I think my testosterone is currently high enough that I probably don't need to go anabolic. But even then, you lose all your gains. Like once you get off of it, it drops pretty significantly. But it would be cool as like a cheat for like 2 months if I did clean and D-ball and just get fucking yoked, you know, and then just like whatever I slim back down to, just maintain that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not actually going to do it. Actually, Andy was like, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you no, but I'd prefer if you did. So that means that was
a very nice way of, don't do that, please.
Dude, she's got my back. She's gang, you know, but
for sure.
But yeah, if she doesn't think it's a good idea, then I'm probably not going to do it. Yeah. But it would be cool. I would do clean.
Smart man.
Like clean's not going to give me fucking rage or anything. So I don't know.
Make you a heart attack.
Well, I don't know how to even get it. Like I'm not going to buy it online.
Right.
Like, you're going to die. You're going to get it with. It's going to be a fentanyl in it, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Border Policy, Whiskey, and
Personal Health
podcast. Appreciate it, right? Appreciate it. And again, sorry for last week, but you already got the explanation. So
yeah, you got a late one. Get over it. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah,
we love you.
We're people.
If we didn't, we wouldn't have gone through the trouble to still get one out after all the stuff. The
Facts. Which one did you put out? I mean, look.
Oh, I redid the one with Aaron.
Oh, Aaron Chepnick. Okay.
Yeah. For Smoke Wagon. Yep.
Always
so
a good one.
I just explained in the opening that we had some scheduling conflicts and technical things going on, and just
before we knew it was Sunday at 9 o'clock, and we were like, it's just.
Well, even then, when we were like, hey, cool, let's just post an old one. I had archived everything, and the hard drive that was on was just I don't know what is going on with it. If it's about to die, I've already backed it up, but it took forever to like 12 hours to unzip and unpack where I had stored it and compressed it. Whatever.
Well, y'all are welcome for Gus's trouble.
Not a big deal.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Assalamu alaikum.
See you next time.
See ya.